Good evening. It is bake time again. My grandson decided he wanted a chocolate cake with a chocolate icing. So I'm using just a cake mix like I've done before. I'm going to do the 3 eggs, a half a cup of oil. You can substitute butter. You can also substitute apple juice, not apple juice, applesauce and other things to make the cake mix more, how to your liking. I like it with the oil because, to be honest, it makes it to me more fluffy and, it's just airier to me. And then a cup and a fourth of water. I've got it's going to take 2 baking pans. I'm going to put the flour, the Baker's Joy for my oil and flour in the pans. Then we're going to do our icing. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a chocolate cream cheese icing because I just think cream cheese makes everything better. So it's going to take a stick of cream cheese, a stick of butter. You're going to need a teaspoon of vanilla extract. I always put a little bit of almond. You're going to need 4 tablespoons of cocoa and 4 cups of powdered sugar. Now, I took out the heavy whipping cream because in case this is too thick, instead of adding milk, I like to add the heavy whipping cream or just like a cream because to me it just kind of keeps it that nice, rich flavor. So I'm going to get this cake mix done. I'm going to get it all put together and we'll go on to the next step. Okay, so we're going to just mix all those ingredients together, and I'm going to get the pans ready. And again, with the Baker's Joy, you're just going to spread. You're going to spray it around the edges, and you're going to spray it on the bottom. And that just keeps your cake from sticking, okay? Now, we're going to put in our eggs. You can also add a little bit of vanilla extract when you're making a store-bought cake. You can actually add a little bit of vanilla. That kind of helps it to have more of a bakery taste to it, or a little bit of almond because, most bakeries will use almond in their cake mixes. But I'm just going to go ahead and do it this way since we're going to do the rich, creamy cream cheese icing on at the top. So you're just going to get this mixed up just until it's well mixed. You don't want to overmix your cake mix because if you do, it will make the texture kind of tough. And we want to keep this light and airy. So I'm going to do this just on a number 3, and I'm just going to get it mixed up, okay? I'm going to finish this up real quick and get it poured in the pan. Okay, so once you get it mixed up, you're going to scrape the edges just to make sure everything's mixed up because, sometimes there'll be cake mix on the bottom that doesn't get mixed in. So, see? Okay. So it's mixed up, and we're just going to separate it into the 2. Because, again, the store-bought ones, they make a 2-layer. They don't usually make a 3-layer. Now, of course, you could do this in a 9x13 pan if you just wanted the flat cake, the 1 layer. But I like to do the 3. I like to do the 2-layer. It just kind of, feels more cakey, and you get more icing that way, too. All right. As you can see, you just kind of like separate them out, kind of shake it. All right, now this is going to go in the oven at 350 for about 20 minutes. When I get it back out, I will go on to the next step. So the cakes have been cooking for about 25 minutes. And the way I always test cakes is you can see how it pulls away from the sides. Now I did push in this one too soon. But when it's ready, you will push in and it'll bounce back. That's how you know the cake is done. Of course, you can use the toothpick test. That's fine too. This is just just always easy for me because once it starts pulling away from the pan, then that usually means that it's cooked. So this is going to cool for about 5 minutes before I'm going to put it on the plates. And while this is cooling, we're going to go ahead and make the icing. So just give me... Okay, so we're going to start on the icing, and your butter and your cream cheese need to be at room temperature. If you forget to take it out in time, you can put it in the microwave. I would say 20 seconds because you don't want it to melt. You do want it to soften. So I'm going to get this blended up, and you could do this on medium, high, or high. You're just going to get these 2 mixed together, and then you're going to start adding in your other ingredients. So let me get these real good and mixed, and we'll go on to the next thing. Okay, once you got that cream together, you're going to go ahead and you're going to add in your teaspoon of vanilla. And I got a new one. So a teaspoon is a little bit over a cap. You can go a teaspoon and a half. That's all right. And then you're going to add in almond. I made about a fourth of a teaspoon. You don't have to do the almond. It's just something I like to do. And then we're going to put in our cocoa. And again, it's going to be 4 tablespoons. You want it nice and chocolatey. So we're going to mix this up. And after we get this blended, we're going to start adding in our powdered sugar. So let me get this blended real quick. I'm going to do this on a medium. And then I'm going to start adding in powdered sugar. Something I didn't think to mention, I always use salted butter because it's just a preference of mine. But if you do use unsalted butter, remember to put about a half a teaspoon of salt into your mix, just to kind of break some of the, so it's not quite as sweet. But again, I always just use salted butter, so I skip that step in any of my baking, because I prefer the salted butter. So we're gonna get this added in. This is all 4 cups. Let me get this mixed up, and then I'll see if I'm going to need to add in a little bit of the half and half cream. Okay, since I like a nice thick whipped icing, I'm not gonna have to add any of the cream. So this is actually the perfect texture. If you wanted to pipe this, you could, or if you just want to, spoon it on there, then you can do that as well. So yes, this is going to be your stick of cream cheese, stick of butter, 4 cups of powdered sugar, and 4 tablespoons of cocoa, and a little bit of vanilla and almond. So I'm going to set this aside. Once the cake's cool, I'll bring it back over here, and we will get them all the icing on there and get ready to cut into it. The cake is completely cooled, so now we are going to put our icing on there. Now this icing would be enough for 3 cakes, so you can either save some for later, or you can just make them nice thick layers of icing on the cake. So it's kind of up to you. I'll probably put a good bit in between my layers here. Okay, so you just kind of spread that out. Put a little bit more. I'm going to invest in me in one of those little round thingamajiggies one day, so I can just spin my cakes. But for now, I'll do it the old-fashioned way. All right, and then you're going to take your other layer, and you're going to put it on the top. And then we are going to get this one nice and ice, and make sure that you put enough icing so you don't tear into the cake, because the cake is going to be kind of flaky, and you don't want it to just spread into the icing. All right, so let me get this done, and I will be back. Okay, so to finish up, just to make it kind of look a little bit more fancy, I kind of do this on the top. It also helps kind of hide the flaws if your cake is not quite even, because I don't know, I haven't figured that out yet. Sometimes my cakes look perfect, and other times they're just, woppy and wappidated. So I'm going to get this cut, and my grandson, since this was his cake suggestion, he wanted this cake, I'm going to get him to taste it for us. Okay, this is how the cake looks, and my grandson is going to take a bite, since this is his request, and let me know how it turned out.
This is amazing. Love it.
Which is better, the icing or the cake?
Everything. It's all amazing.
Okay, 1 thumb up, 2 thumbs up. Okay, that's all I get from him. All right, y'all, this is my chocolate cake with cream cheese, chocolate, icing. So if y'all have any questions, let me know. If not, enjoy y'all. Oh, and one other thing, because it does have cream cheese, it is best to keep this stored in the refrigerator and not left out on the counter for more than 24 hours, okay? Enjoy.